And welcome to the Deuce Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeremy.
Jeremy, 156. Does that mean anything to you?
Hey, the number of our episode?
That is the number of our episode. We are at 156 of Deuces.
Was that all that it meant?
Yeah, that's all that meant.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't anything spectacular.
Okay.
We are doing something that I read online, inspired by the Married with Clickers podcast. They were watching the movie Single White Female 2, The Psycho, which I was like, there's a second single white female? I need to do that.
Yeah.
So I said to you, and they were doing it, and they had hashtag Cruel Summer. So I decided, let's do this month, Cruel Summer, meaning movies that we didn't know were sequels, or that our audience doesn't know have sequels, and that probably aren't that good.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
So it's like April is the cruelest month, but we're doing it for the summer.
Yes, and I'm torturing you with this again. So we decided to start things off.
Our annual crap fest.
It's a crap fest. We were starting things off strong with the crap fest, with a hashtag Cruel Summer. Single White Female 2, The Psycho. I don't know why The Psycho is there. Obviously, Jennifer Jason Leigh was the Psycho in the first movie. What makes her or less a psycho than this girl?
Yeah.
And I realized what it was. Jennifer Jason Leigh's a better actor.
Oh, there you go. It's really like this movie. I think at the last few minutes they suddenly were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh God, she's supposed to be horrible.
She's supposed to be horrible. Well, not that she's not horrible. She's just not and not that she's not psycho. It's just I don't want it Joker style, right?
Yeah.
But I want somewhat of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
Person, right?
Yeah.
To have fun with it.
Yes.
And well, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Why don't we?
Yes.
Yes. But first, Jeremy, this is a 2005 movie.
Yeah.
From the 1992 was the original movie.
Right.
So I don't know why it took them that long to even considering 2005. They were like, you know what we need to do?
Yeah.
Make a sequel to that movie.
Well, to me, this has all the earmarks of one of those movies where they go, one of those that we always see where they're like, well, this wasn't intended to be a sequel.
No, I think it was.
The sequel.
I mean, I think it was. Do you think it was?
I think it was probably its own thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it feels like a TV show.
Kind of.
Like it has that quality to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a direct-to-video.
No, I mean, I don't think it... we'll kind of get into that.
Yeah.
5 questions, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems really haphazard. It only had a $2 million budget, so...
Well, that's $2 million more than it should have.
You're correct.
In my book.
I don't know what they did with the rest of it.
I don't know what they did with it. They did it for hair dye for
there you go.
The Psycho girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
They used it on Chicago wigs.
They used it on Jedi ghosts at the end of the movie. All right, we are going to start things off with a plot synopsis.
Yes.
And Jeremy's going to give that to us. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So I'll run through this. This one is pretty comprehensive.
Is it?
It's more of a plot summary
for this movie?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and so I think it kind of runs through it.
Yeah.
In New York, the public relations colleagues and roommates Holly Parker and Jan Lambert are disputing a promotion in their agency. The unethical Jan deceives Holly and sends her to Chicago. Meanwhile, she seduces Holly's boyfriend, David Cray, in the opening of the fancy restaurant of his own, and they have a one-night stand. When Holly arrives back home, she finds that David cheated on her with Jan and decides to move to a new apartment. She schedules a visit with the needy Tess Kosich, and they become roommates and friends.
That's her last name?
Yeah, Kosich.
Oh, God, whatever.
Yeah, they become roommates and friends. When Tess cuts and dyes her hair identical to Holly's style, she sees that her new roommate is obsessed with her.
Yeah, that's why she thinks.
Yeah. When Holly follows Tess to an underground nightclub called Sin, she realizes that the girl is deranged. But Tess
Not
wants.
really.
I know, not really.
It's just that she's sexually excited and has an
Yeah.
appetite, right?
But Tess wants to be her friend and put Holly out of misery, out of her misery, eliminating her former bad friends.
Nah, whatever.
I mean, it's kind of the rundown.
This movie has a tagline of a roommate with killer instincts.
Boo.
Boo. Correct. Rated R. You can find it on Amazon and anywhere you stream. You do have to rent it. So we did pay some money
We did
to watch
pay
this movie.
somebody.
We did not pay a lot, but we did pay some. But
Enjoy my residuals, Brooke Burns.
Brooke Burns. That's what we should do. We should go through a little bit of the cast.
Yeah.
The most famous person I would say would be Brooke Burns, who plays the original roommate, Jan. And
Yeah.
Brooke Burns is known for, she's a game show host, best known for the syndicated The Chase, and another game show where there's like a bunch of, where Ken Jennings is on it too.
She's
Where
also
there's,
in,
it's always like her, it's like Beauty and the Geek kind of thing.
yeah.
Where it's always like these geeks that know a lot, and then the contestants, and she's always the host. And that's basically what she's known for. And then
She was in like,
what else?
she was in like 50 something episodes of Baywatch.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah,
She was
yeah,
a
she's a
Baywatch
Baywatch girl.
Yeah.
I forgot about that because I'm not watching a lot of Baywatch.
Really?
You really think I watched Baywatch?
I didn't either.
Come
It's okay.
on, not even for the hairstyles.
No.
Some other people in this movie are Christian Miller as Holly. Don't know. She's done some TV work and some other work as well. Allison Lang as Tess, the psycho. She has not quite done a lot, and it quite shows in this movie, if you know what I mean. Todd Babcock, who plays the boyfriend, David. And he has done a lot of acting, but he also does a lot of coaching.
Yeah.
A lot of TV stuff as well. And then you have the detective played by Riff Hutton.
Yeah.
He is basically known for the KFC commercials
Yeah.
where he plays the CEO of KFC.
He used to he was
Or what, like the president of KFC or something?
something like that. He was
Yeah,
like
but
he was
you're
like
that's the guy from
Yeah.
the KFC. Yeah.
he used to be like the KFC spokesperson
Yes.
back in the day.
Back in the day. Mhm.
Was really well known
Mm-hmm.
from that, but he I know he does a lot of like voice acting and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's where I've seen him most lately.
So
but
not a lot of like big name people. but
can I
obviously-
say that? Let me
Oh,
say
go ahead.
this.
Yes.
So
And then the one guy, the boss.
Francois Girodet,
Yeah.
who was like a French merc in Roland Emmerich's Godzilla.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
And a couple other things. But no, not Brooke Burns, but Allison
Miller?
Lang, who played,
Allison Lang, okay.
played Tess. So she is like I was like, where do I know her from? And Bradley had mentioned that she was.
I know her from Starbucks.
She was in an episode of CSI, and I was like,
Oh,
wait
yeah,
a
yeah,
minute,
yeah.
if this is the episode I'm thinking of, and it was like an episode called Blood Drops. And the premise of the episode is like a whole family is murdered with the exception of the oldest teenage daughter and the youngest daughter in the family.
Okay.
And the youngest daughter was like one of the first roles of Dakota Fanning.
Oh,
She
okay.
was like real little, like she was,
Was
like
she the other
maybe
daughter,
like
or-
6.
So was she the other daughter?
Yeah, she was
Okay.
she was the oldest teenage daughter.
Was she the killer? Spoilers.
I'm trying to remember. Yes, she was the killer
Okay.
because turns out Dakota Fanning was really her daughter, and there was
Okay.
a whole like family.
Was she at least decent in that? Because she's not really that great.
Yeah,
in
she
this
was.
movie?
She was. Well, I think she was fine in that because she was trying to play like an awkward teen,
Right.
and in this, she's just she's trying to be like
I'm just saying my
somewhere
lines.
between
Holly,
awkward and
I really love
sensuous,
you,
and
Holly.
it's not working.
Holly, you're the best.
Yeah, it just
All right.
doesn't work.
We're going to start with the beginning of this movie. This movie starts off with, well, basically Holly and Jan, right?
Yeah.
And they are competing for a new position at the job that they have. Like a supervisor, not a supervisor, but like promotions.
Yeah,
or something.
They do public relations.
They do public relations, and they use their sex to get ahead.
Well,
This is written by men.
Oh yeah, by 3 dudes.
By 3 dudes.
And so like at the beginning, they're all trying to be. They're roommates, and they're basically saying we both want that promotion, and we won't like not have sex to get to it. Like we should be sexy.
We should be sexy because we should use our assets.
Yeah.
Hence the ass of assets.
Yeah, like clearly written by guys.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So we see the one, the main gal, Holly, goes home with the restaurant owner, David.
They're trying to promote his restaurant.
Yes.
Like
Which, this is also very weird. It's because, like, their PR thing is, like, they don't just have these, like, press junkets and whatever. They do one. But outside of that, it's, like, directly talking to restaurant reviewers one by one and trying to get them to review the restaurant one at a time. Very weird. Yeah, it's awkward.
Yeah.
But Kristen Miller, who plays Holly, she goes home with David, who's the restaurant owner, and sleeps with him. Come to find out, they're actually dating. So that's the whole thing. Like, they've been dating all along.
Ooh,
and so they just kind of kept it out of the,
Even though Holly, because they were at like a party, and the boss was like, "Go flirt with him. We need him to be, we need that account."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, so they're like, always be closing, but opening your legs, kind of
thing. Yeah. So she wants him
Except
to be.
Glenn Glenn Ross is better written.
Huh? I think she didn't want to tell that, that Charity knew that because she'd have been removed from the thing, and she really wants the promotion and so on and so forth. So, she sleeps with him, and that next day, like, is supposed to be the press junket, and she gets a call from her bestie Jan, who literally looks like she's wearing a wig from Catherine Zeta-Jones in Chicago. It's awkward.
It is. It's very really much awkward. Like that.
And she's just like, "Hey,
the minute you walk through the joint,
the boss wants you in Chicago.
You gotta fly to Chicago so I can sleep with your boyfriend."
Yeah. So she sends her to Chicago.
Like in a fake thing.
Yeah, and she gets there and realizes it's not real. So she flies back, and when she gets home, she realizes that Jan has slept with David. And he's like, "It's an accident. It didn't mean anything.
You were out of town.
Yeah.
And I needed somewhere on my opening night."
Yeah.
Like some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
excuse like that.
You abandoned me.
You couldn't, like 12 hours, you couldn't, like...
Yes, right?
Like, keep your pants zipped up? Please.
Yeah. And it was ridiculous. But, of course, because women wrote it, he was like, it was an accident. And he's supposed to be like, we're supposed to feel for him.
Oh, yeah, he's really much I'm a hero.
The women are like, at each other's throat about it. And basically blaming each other, but the man is scot-free on this.
Sure.
So, of course. And so she's like, "I'm moving out." And so she moves out.
I'm going to move out. And she moves out like in one day. Because that's usually what happens.
Yes. So she moves out and has like a giant steamer trunk that she's carrying.
Because she's just carrying her lingerie in that. Yeah. That's all she owns.
She goes and sees...
That's how she gets her accounts.
She goes and sees this gal who's like, "Well, I'm interviewing a bunch of people for the spot."
Right.
And so
actually, hold on. Like, because that whole sequence of, like, setting this all up takes at least, I would say, 40 minutes of this fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, why is that taking so long? It really should be flash, boom, go. He slept with your boyfriend.
And the sex scene between Holly and David goes on for long
way
time.
Too long.
Yeah.
But you know what? Wanted that curtain. I really wanted that curtain. I thought that would look nice, kind of like in a window. If we had like a window in our kitchen, that'd be a good curtain.
Yeah.
that kind of blocked for them when they were
yeah.
showing them having sex. That
Yeah.
would be good.
Yeah.
In like a kitchen, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how gay men look at like sex scenes, straight sex scenes. You go, oh, those curtains right there.
I
That
couldn't
would look
see
really
anything
good.
through all my tears. But
Yeah,
that was,
well, that's true.
what's happening?
What's happening?
So
And honestly, like, if this is going to be an erotic thriller, you know, if it's going to be on those veins,
yeah,
of that, and there was that those moments in the like mid '90s where these were in fashion. If
Yeah.
it is going to be like that, then up the sex.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then do it.
It was like they couldn't
It was.
decide.
It was very much like, hey, like when you're trying to watch
Yeah.
Skinamax when you're younger, and it's all scrambled, and it's like, oh, it's just this scene.
Yeah,
There's nothing to it.
yeah,
Whatever. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. We we used to laugh at them because we just
Yeah.
we thought it looked like they were giving each other massages, but they were like
Yes.
they didn't know how sex happened.
That's what it
because
feels
they just,
like.
would rub each other, and you're like, what is that?
That's
Rub.
kind of what this is. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, because I'm sure like a sex scene's hard to film because
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like, you know, the most intimate thing, and like you're recreating that. I get that, but this just looks kind of awkward. It really does. But that's what I mean. I'm like, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna have this kind of movie, up it, like do it, because there's moments in this movie where they could have
Yeah, you could have.
in the whole sex club thing, but it just fails.
Yes, and I think of honestly during that, I kept thinking about like I felt like it wanted to be Basic Instinct 2.
Yes.
Where like either make it a psychosexual thriller through
Yeah.
the whole thing, or don't. Like, but it seemed like they kind of got halfway there and didn't take it all the way home.
And then they were like, well,
yeah,
we forgot.
and I mean, I
to
have been
really
on
put
dates like
why.
that before, but it was
Whatever. Yeah, but like, so that whole thing takes way too long.
yes,
And she moves out right away.
yeah,
And you're right, she has like this one trunk. And then, but there's like this montage, short little montage of her circling the one ads
oh yeah,
and then crossing it out with a highlighter.
yeah,
She's like, oh, you're in a punk rock band? Don't want you.
Yeah.
You're a smoker? Nope.
yeah.
Scratch.
She goes to a place and she's
Yeah.
like, do you smoke?
Yeah.
And she like crossed it out. I'm like, what? Is
And then
happening?
it's like, of course, single white female.
I have a punk band named Secret Orifice, which is legit what they said.
Yes. And it's like, and then she circles the one that says single white female.
Yeah.
And we know it's that one because she circled it 7 times.
Yes.
She really did. She went,
Yeah.
circle, 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 circle. Gotta go to this one.
Yeah.
And then she's got like gleams at the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not that far. But like,
Yeah,
you know,
she
they're
looked
setting
like
all that
looking
up.
at the paper and nodding.
Yeah,
to
she's like,
herself.
this
is
one.
the one.
And she goes to it, and it's like she's like this nurse, you know, like this nice little nurse, and she thinks she's found the right one. But we all know that this is the psycho girl, right?
Yeah.
We've come to understand these movies well
Yes.
enough that they try to beat you over the head to tell you she's a psycho by putting killer jokes
Oh my
constantly
god. My god.
through it, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh man, carrying this case. Oh, it's going to be a killer walking up the steps.
Yeah.
And you're like, I get it.
Moving is just murder.
Murder, right?
What do you got in this trunk? A bunch of dead bodies?
That's what
was
she
like
said.
Seriously said.
That's seriously what
as
she
a
said.
line.
And I'm like, I get it. You want to write foreshadowing, and you're at the elementary, like status of foreshadowing, where you're like, I just found out what foreshadowing is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write it. Like, it's just so bad, but it's so laughable. Like, I was thinking in my head, going, I want to write a movie, like where it's a parody of this kind of, where throughout the whole movie, one character just does that through the whole movie, but she's not the killer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Somebody thinks they are. They're like, why? Why would you think that?
You think that they are, but she keeps just saying
Yeah.
really psycho things, and you're like, just turn to her, just look at her.
Well, okay,
She's
so
fine.
you
Don't
could have
worry about
also, like, at this point, you could have also rolled into it, like, with cheesiness and,
Yeah.
you know,
Correct.
Boy, what do you got in here? Dead body. Why? Who said, what? Who told you some? I mean,
And part of that could be like the delivery or the cadence of the actress. The way that
Yeah.
she delivers the line is not really, up to, I mean, this is a producer turned director who
Yeah.
kind of doesn't really kind of get what he's doing quite yet. I think
Yeah.
later on he might, but it just feels like everything's just a little rushed or not rushed enough. So, but you're right. Like, if I wanted more cheesiness, like
Yeah.
I wanted this movie not to take itself so serious, and this movie is just bogged down with too much seriousness.
agreed.
Especially with the flashback of the main girl, Holly, because we forgot to say that it does open with her and the
yeah.
flashback of her mom, who she walks in after she committed suicide,
Yeah.
and she sees blood and whatever.
Well-
and so she's traumatized by that.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be like something that pops up,
Well,
even though
okay.
it's lightly like sprinkled in,
Yeah.
but not really.
So here's what I thought was going to happen, right? And I thought, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised with this movie. Because I thought what we were just joking about was going to happen, that we put so much emphasis on the one gal making like death and killer like references, and then come to find out that Holly, our main gal, would actually be the murderer. Like, that she was really psycho.
Yeah.
Because like of whatever triggered by her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's going to be,
I can kind of get behind
interesting.
that. Yeah.
Because the whole thing would be set up that you think it's the other gal, and it's not. It's the person you've been like associating with the whole time.
That's what I mean. I wanted that.
Yeah, I was like, I bet I'm going to be pleasantly surprised.
Right.
And I should have known better. We did exactly what you thought. Like, the dialogue belied how,
Yeah.
how straightforward and awkward this was just going to be.
Oh my god.
So, but I was seriously, for a second I thought, ooh, they're gonna plot twist this on us, but they did not.
So there's some other plots. Him trying to open the restaurant.
Yeah,
And then her falling back in love with him, or like befriending him again.
Yeah.
And also Brooke Burns after she, like, after all that.
So-
no, like, there is that moment with the psycho girl is right. She should probably leave these people behind.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But she shouldn't leave them behind for Psycho Girl
No.
because she's in love with her and wants to kiss and make out with her.
Yeah.
That's beyond weird.
It goes so. Holly and Tess are becoming friends. Like, they're going out and doing stuff, and Holly's getting a new dress, and Tess is looking at this nice dress. Well, nice for her. I think it looks hideous.
It does look hideous.
Yeah, and so Tess is like, "Oh, I couldn't afford a dress like this," and Holly's like, "I'll get it for you." That's what friends do. And so
Even the gay guy that worked the shop was all like, "Yeah, it looks great on you."
yeah,
Like, even he was like, "No, this isn't the
yes, no,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I was like,
You had to hear
I
it.
feel for you. I know what that's like. Where you have to tell your straight friend, yeah, that's good.
looks good on you.
It's great on you.
So she gets her the dress, and she's like, "Come with me to the premiere of the restaurant." And
right.
she still has. Holly still has to do the restaurant thing because it's her job.
Yeah.
She's like, "Come to the premiere of that." So that night, Holly's there working and schmoozing. Jan, for some reason, is working as the bouncer.
Right. Why is she the bouncer?
Right, and so it makes no sense. So
Why is she not in there
Tess-
helping her?
I don't know why
Like,
she was-
socialize. You
yeah.
know what I mean? That's her job.
Yeah.
Right?
So Tess comes in and comes up, and she's like, "I'm supposed to be here with Holly," and she's like, "Who are you?" "Well, I'm her roommate," and she's just like, "I don't see your name on the list." And Jan is like doing Chicago Fosse moves. I don't see your name on
I
the
don't
list.
see your name on the list. I'm going to chase you away.
Fosse,
You
Fosse,
beast.
Fosse. Yeah. No. So she's like, "I don't see your name on the list." She's like, "But see, it says Holly +1. I'm that +1." And then she chases her off, which I'm like, well, why didn't you call her? Why
No
didn't
pun
you
intended. Yeah, you're right.
And so she leaves. And then later, Jan is like, "Oh yeah, I chased off your new roommate."
Yeah, I did.
And all that jazz.
Why'd you do that? and all that jazz. I did it with jazz hands.
And so
And she was like, she was so mean to me.
yeah, so she goes home and she's like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't know."
Her friend Queen Latifah told me I couldn't come in.
Well, she said that, like, "Oh, you wearing that dress to the prom, whatever."
Right.
And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like,
And A, no one would wear that dress to the
no,
prom.
that's
B,
ridiculous.
no one would wear that dress.
Yeah, and
C, who made that dress?
yeah. So they're like kind of like talking. Holly's consoling Tess, and then they kiss. Wasn't that? I'm pretty sure it was then.
No, I thought it was out. Was it? I don't know. I can't remember. It's very weird. Yeah, you're right, because it's like, no.
No. Later.
That was when she dyed her hair.
Oh yeah, so that was even more awkward. So then she's like, "Oh, we are friends." So later, Holly comes home and she sees what she thinks is blood on the floor. Turns out Tess dyed her hair red to look like Holly's, and it looked like blood. So then Holly starts having this kind of like PTSD.
Also, like, why are you going exactly to blood right away?
Yeah, it
Like,
was
maybe there's something wrong.
red and it was outside the bathroom.
I guess, but yeah.
And she was having like a flashback.
I get that, but I'm just like,
But so she was traumatized, and Tess comes in and is just like, "I'm so sorry.
it could have been Kool-Aid.
I can change it back. I can do whatever." And she's just like, "No." And she explains about her mom.
And
so
she says, "No, that's not your problem. Your problem is you can't act.
"Yeah,
That's your problem.
that's your problem. Toots,
Toots.
toots.
Now let's make out."
Now let's plant one on me."
She says, "No, something traumatic happened to her."
Yeah.
Whatever.
And so then they kiss, and she's kind of like, "Hey, no."
Kind of. That was really more forced.
It was
where,
weird.
Like Tess was very like, "Let's kiss."
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Tess kissed her pretty much.
And she was just kind of like, she didn't really want to, but
Yeah.
it was kind of like, "Well, I'm in my 20s. Oh, I guess I will."
What? She was in her 20s.
Well, I'm just assuming she was in her 30s. Did I say 20s?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm assuming she was 40.
Yeah. I mean, at least. Anyway, so she later on, she's just like, it's weird. Holly goes out to work and she's coming home and she sees Tess, now with her same hairstyle, wearing one of her dresses, right? And Tess gets back in, or Tess gets in the cab and drives off. Holly gets back into her cab and goes, "Follow that taxi," and follows it along. And follows Holly to a place with a giant neon sign that says "Sin," and it's a club that, like, it's in the underground. So she goes down into this club, and of course, every person in this sex club is like running into her as she walks.
Right. That's what you do when you're in a sex club. You just bump into.
You just hit everybody as you walk by.
Yeah, just hit each other. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And they do that thing where like everybody stares at them
Everyone
with like a
stares
dead
at her,
eye.
right? Including guys that I'm like, that guy is not attracted to her.
No.
That is a daddy bear right there.
Yeah, right.
He is not wanting her.
Well, and
Unless he's going nice dress. That's the only thing I'm
so
thinking.
this is where like I'm think back to like Fatal Attraction 2. And
is there a Fatal Attraction too? You're thinking of Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes. Is there a Fatal
No, but
Attraction
we'll
2?
look that up.
Basic Instinct 2.
Go ahead.
Where like they have like the orgy scene. Where it's,
a
lot of like graphic whatever.
Graphic.
But it's like they were trying to do that here, but it was like Cinemax level graphic where it was like, here's a girl who's just got her head through like a stockade thing. But nothing really sexual happening. Here's another girl who kind of looks like she's somebody's going down on her, but not really, only Cinemax style. It was just like this. And so she finally walks along until she sees Tess tied up to like a like almost like an X-shaped cross kind of thing. So she's tied up to that, and then somebody's choking her with like a red scarf. Not really choking her. It looks ridiculous. It looks like somebody. It's one of those things where like somebody's trying to make it look like they're using force on it by shaking their hand to make it look like they're putting force on it. It's stupid. But she's like, tighter, tighter, no tighter, and keeps saying it.
A lot of people are having sex in this club with their clothes on.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to do to begin with.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's a lot of people with too much clothes.
Yes.
You know,
for what
in
you're
a sex
trying
club.
to, yeah.
Like, I'm just saying. Like, I'm not saying like they should be all like wild and crazy. Ooh, wow. But I'm just like, it just seems tame to me. And she gets all kind of like freaked out because she, you know, makes eye contact with Tess. And like, Tess makes eye contact with her. And she's like, harder, choke me harder. Yeah. And like, then Holly runs away.
Yes.
And that's when she comes back from, no, I can't remember. There's a lot of weird.
She goes to, like she apologizes.
At this point, it
to
doesn't
her.
matter.
Yeah, my God. At some point, she apologizes. Tess apologizes to Holly.
Mm-hmm.
Holly ends up going back to David's and like staying there with him, and he says, "Well, if
that's what it is." Yes, she gets freaked out. She doesn't know where to go. She goes to David.
Yeah,
the guy that cheated on you, who was all like, "I didn't mean to." What is your problem? Like, you got a problem.
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing with this to me is, they treat
David like a hero.
Yeah, they do.
And
like
I'm
he's the nice guy who
David is not
who was fooled by Jan.
Right. Who was fooled by Jan.
Again, this was later, written by a bunch of dudes who
later poisoned by Tess and then choked and knocked out.
Well, okay, so he's like, well, they treat. Okay, so she's like in an S&M club or whatever, like
S&M bar.
Yeah, an S&M bar. She's in this S&M bar. And you're treating it like that's what's making her like a crazy person.
Like the sex is making her creepy.
And so she tells her boyfriend who cheated on her that like she was doing these things and it was so weird. And he's like, "You should move back in here with me where you're safe."
Right.
Like it was like, wait,
you
what?
don't want that sexaholic.
But again, like it's just the equating of like,
what the fuck are you, dude? You're a sexaholic that cheated on her.
Yeah.
With her best friend that she works with every day, who you all have to see each other when you're promoting the restaurant.
Yeah.
How toxic is that?
Yes.
And you're like, maybe you should move out because you saw her at an S&M bar.
Yeah.
And
but
I'm like,
they're treating it like, well, you know, what? She does it with the lights on? Wow, she's obviously a sexual sadist. Better bring...
a psycho.
Better move on here where we can have... Where we can have missionary sex on the end of the bed with the lights off for as long as you want. Up to 5 minutes, baby. Like, it's just like...
It's okay. We can invite Jan. She can watch if you want.
Yeah.
She can choke me.
I was waiting for that shit to happen, too.
I was waiting for that, too.
Because I
was waiting for little wild things.
Yeah,
like
they alluded to it earlier, like when they were kind of jokingly talking, and I was like, ugh, please don't.
Look, let me fast forward and kind of keep going. It's very confusing, the relationship between Tess and Holly.
Yeah.
Because at one moment they're mad at each other, and the next minute they're like, "Oh, it's okay. Bring your friends over, and we can have dinner. Oh, that sounds great. I'll bring David." And then the next minute they're not friends with each other. It just seems so odd, and there's no motivation really why she is a psycho, except for the fact of the murder, or not the murder, the suicide pact that she has with her friend, which I wanted to bring up because you saw something funny in this movie.
Oh my God.
And I wanted you to explain it.
So Holly sets her friend up, sets Tess up on a date with the guy who she's like, this guy will be perfect for you. He's a great guy. So she sets him up on a date, but while they're talking, she's like, hey, can you get your boss to, like, your boss is this critic for whatever newspaper, can he review the restaurant? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And so it was not like a trade-off for sex or anything like that. So what ends up happening, though, is Tess goes on this date and she comes back and she says this guy, played by James Matteo from Hook and from Basketball Diaries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they say that he forced himself on her. And she's like, how could you do that to me? She said, you traded me for sex or whatever. And she's like, Holly's like, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. And so it's like, okay, so she ends up confronting him in a very like, hey buddy kind of way. And he's like, well, she's lying about it. And it's like this very, I mean, it's a little jarring because it's this very like anti-Me Too, almost like, I mean, clearly that happened years later, but it was this very like, hey, he's a nice guy. He couldn't have raped anybody, even though like clearly she knew details of like he was supposed to do something, which is how you set him up on this date. And I was like, maybe they like, okay, maybe that did happen. Maybe this is what sets her off, is that whatever. But instead,
Maybe
the guy writers were like,
I mean, there is that aspect.
He's innocent, and women are just accusing him.
I don't think he's innocent, but there is that aspect of like she could be lying. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that aspect.
But they just straight up treat her as they just straight up treat it like she's lying.
Right, that she is lying.
Yeah.
I mean, she could be. She has that psycho that is trying to lie her way into a friendship.
And honestly, the way they wrote it, yes, she was just lying.
Right.
But it's ridiculous that like they thought that this was like an okay thing to write.
Right, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the newspaper article.
Yeah, I know. That's just what I'm getting to.
Oh, I gotcha.
So later on, she gets a manila envelope sent to her office.
From who?
Yeah, from him.
Okay.
It was from him. He goes, check this out if you don't believe me.
Also, like, why is he, like, really so into...
Like, clearing his name
if you didn't do anything.
He sends a newspaper clipping, and I'll post a picture of this.
Please.
He sends a newspaper clipping.
Headline reads.
So, the headline... Let me get back to it here.
We paused it so we could take a look at it.
The headline says, High School Suicide Pact. And there's no byline with it.
No.
But it does say, right, okay, so I can tell you what happened. Well, first off, it says, dead student, ... bled to death in school showers, ... Girl says she chickened out after watching friend die, ... And then it goes, the facts regarding the situation remain the same. State the authorities. Details concerning the action. But if you look too, that paragraph under there is the same as the other articles around it.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing they wrote in the paper over and over. ...
Well,
I guarantee the
it's
reason
like you're waiting for someone to respond to you.
Well, you know how normally, like, if you have like a newspaper, like in movies, it'll zoom in on parts of the article. I think what they did was they said, we want this prop, which is a paper that says, it has to say dead student, which is what it zooms in on.
They were probably ... something.
Yeah, like thinking somebody's going to vamp in between there, but not print out dead student ... bled to death in school showers ...
And they got it back and they're like, shit.
Yeah.
Just use it.
Yeah. But
then they do a close-up of it.
But then they do another close-up of it where they do that
like a
rack
cinematic
close-up
of it.
They do that rack focus where you see like the top part and then they change it so you see the bottom part.
Yeah.
But then you can tell they messed up and then it like
goes back.
The focus went back again. It was so awkward. Oh my god. But I'll post a picture of it because
in the end
fantastic.
she kills Jan. She invites Jan over and she kills Jan. And she stuffs Jan in a trunk downstairs. How she gets her downstairs, no clue.
And there's nothing else in that trunk. So literally,
a lot of times when I'm watching this movie, don't know time frames, right?
Yeah.
there's really a hard time grasping because I'm like, is this like 2 days after you moved in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what it
basically.
feels like.
It does.
Like, there's no like a month
Well,
later.
she starts rekindling her friendship with Jan because
Right.
Holly gets a good review for the restaurant, and then she gets a promotion, and Jan is like, "I'm sorry, I just wanted it so bad. I should never have been mean
Right.
to you. Yes, let's be friends again."
You're right. I've missed you.
Yeah.
Let's be friends.
And then they're
What the hell, girl?
yeah. So you're with your moving in with your ex-boyfriend and this
And you decided
Yeah.
to be best friends again.
yeah with the girl
With the girl
yeah.
who slept with him.
Uh
Sounds like you're sane.
yeah, and
Too
so
as well.
so Tess is like,
Who's the psycho?
Do you realize how wrong all this is? And so she's
Maybe you're right. She is the psycho.
right. She invites Jan over, and then kills her the most awkward way. And then she
Where's Holly? I
She's-
don't know. Boom.
yeah,
Kill you.
she slams her into a glass curio case, and then stabs her with a knife, and then drags her all the way bleeding to her room. Jan gets home, or Holly gets home, and is like, "What happened?" Now she doesn't freak out by the sight of blood everywhere. She's like, "Is everything
No,
okay?"
she only freaks out on hair dye, not
Yes.
real blood.
Yep. She goes, "Is everything okay?" And she goes, "Oh," Holly here Tess goes, "Oh yeah, the super came over to take a look at something, and he cut his hand on some glass, and he's bleeding pretty bad." And she goes, "Yeah, there's a lot of blood." And she goes, "Yeah, he's went to the hospital to get stitches." And I'm like, "Really? There is blood everywhere, and you seem very not concerned, Holly."
Yeah.
And so,
You're not flashbacking for this blood.
yes, yeah,
But hair dye.
right. But also, like, what did you think the super was doing? Did he come over to check out a curio cabinet? I'm like, so awkward. And so,
Yeah, why did she mention the curio cabinet?
I don't know.
Obviously, there would be stuff on there.
Yeah, there was glass everywhere from it in
Yeah.
the dining room. And she goes,
cleaned up that quickly.
although she did go, "What's with all the candles?" And she goes, "I have friends coming over." And Holly's like, "Well, I can stay and hang out too." And
No,
she
that's
goes,
when she's like, that's what I'm saying. She
Yeah.
goes, well, oh my God, I can meet your friends.
yeah.
No. Okay, well, we're going to have a dinner. Like, you, me, and David, and everyone.
Yeah.
Why are you being friends? You were just going to move
Yeah.
out. Like 2 seconds ago, you
Yeah.
were all like, I'm moving out. Get out of my room.
Yeah.
Makes
So-
no sense.
So they can't
I
find
love that it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
So they
Love
can't
it.
find Tess or
So
find
great.
Jan. Holly goes with David. He's like, she goes off to do something, or she gets upset and she just drives off. David goes over to
She said like something. I don't know what but she's talking to her boss
yeah,
with something.
yeah. Well, okay, so no. Well, first David goes over there.
It all looks the
Yeah,
same.
it all fucking blends together.
because it's all in that fucking apartment and it all looks the same.
Yeah. No, David. So David goes. David goes over there to meet Holly, and Tess drugs him, and then
Yes,
Pulls
which
her
we
panties
knew
off,
It
and-
takes forever to drug him.
pulls her panties off and starts choking him,
Why?
and basically is raping him, and
Yes.
then using his because
She Bill Cosby's him.
and she takes his hands and slaps her with them until her face is bruised.
Which I'm like, it's gonna take a lot of.
Yeah.
To bruise
So
your
then
face.
she knocks him on the ground and hits him in the head with a wine bottle
Wine
until
bottle.
it breaks.
Then switches out the glass and then pours more wine.
Yeah, because she's trying to get rid of the drugs
Right.
that she put in
And
it.
then pours wine into his mouth.
Yeah.
But he kind of like goes.
Yeah.
But yet he's in a coma.
Yeah.
At the hospital.
Right.
And I'm like,
Well, she was trying to. I think then she hit him with the bottle last. Yeah, she did.
did she?
Yeah, she hit him with the bottle last.
Okay.
She was just trying to make sure he drank something so it looked like he had wine in his
Yeah,
system
whatever.
or whatever.
Stupid.
Yeah. But then Holly came home and is like, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do these things.
That's when we get the detective guy.
Yeah, and so the detective.
They rush him to the hospital. Everyone to the hospital.
Yeah, and so the boss, Mr. Ripkin, goes with
Yeah,
Holly.
that's what it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're watching him. They're like, well, he's in a coma right now, but he might come out, like, whatever.
And so she storms off and goes 2 doors down to where Holly's at.
Yes.
Why is she 2 doors down
Yeah.
from the guy that supposedly attacked her?
Yeah. And Holly's like, why do you want to be friends with them? They're terrible to you. And so Holly heads off home, back to her place with Tess. And the boss is like, do you want me to come up with you? And she's like, no, I can take care of it. And then we go to the hospital where a doctor is like, hey, detective, like, he had, this drug in his system that would have paralyzed him. There's a bunch of this. He couldn't have done these things. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh my God.
Oh my God. KFC finger looking good.
So he runs to look at Tess, but she's gone. And so he's trying to desperately get a hold of Holly.
Meanwhile, she's figuring it out. Like, Holly's at home.
Yeah, she
going
has
through her stuff.
Yeah, and she has a bunch of stuff where it's
I'm gonna
like
go
from other
downstairs to
people.
her shit downstairs.
Yes.
Oh, and that's where she finds Jan in
the trunk.
In the trunk.
Yeah, but all of her other stuff that was in the trunk when she brought it there is gone.
Gone, right?
Yeah, or was never there.
Well, we have to because that was foreshadowing. Remember, we got to put her in there because What do you got? You can hear a dead body.
Yeah. Well, it's
what do you got in here, Jan?
It's a Chekhov's gun thing. Like, you
stupid.
talk about it in the first act. It's got to show up by the third one.
Whatever.
So she runs upstairs or like Holly's chasing her and everything.
Yeah.
And
but this is where she, the actress should have been like, I'm crazy. I am going to tell you what my plan was.
Yeah.
That villain kind of thing. And she does not. And she delivers it like, I thought we loved each other.
Yeah.
We love each other, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Holly. You love me.
Yeah. And so then Holly's like, no, I do love you. Whatever. And then Tess is like, basically makes a comment about they're going to do this together then. Or whatever. I think she was going to kill both of them.
Yeah, whatever.
But then, so she had slashed Holly across the stomach with the knife.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she takes, she manages to slash Tess with the knife and run. And she gets into the hallway trying to look for help. And the detective shows up. And of course he turns his back on everything, yelling at some old lady to go back inside.
Yes, as a detective should do.
Yeah. Well, okay, so they were like, it's all old people, so you'll never see anybody. And so that the first time, an old lady shows up at one of the doors, and it's like, well, what was the point of that? She didn't help. She didn't do whatever. Didn't even give a look out to the detective. He gets stabbed in the shoulder and then stabbed in the gut with the knife.
Yeah.
And then
do you think they were like, oh shit, we need an old person?
Yeah, it was. I don't.
So
even know
the casting director was like, okay.
Well, I think they were like, well, wouldn't somebody hear this and come out?
Right.
Yeah, and so Tess is threatening to slit his throat, and Holly has the gun, the detective's gun, and she's like, I do it all the time. I kill people, and you look in their eyes, and you realize. They understand.
They understand. They want it.
Yeah,
it's a mercy killing.
Yeah, you're taking their pain away.
Whatever.
And so she finally shoots her.
Mm-hmm. And then took our pain away.
Yes, right. She finally shoots Tess once in the right shoulder, and that was enough to kill her, apparently.
To kill her, I guess.
She goes, yeah. So she dies.
Not the right shoulder. That's my Achilles tendon.
That's the one. My heart is awkwardly over there instead of on the other side.
You must have read that in an article I had about when I was younger, and my heart was in my shoulder. ... Girl born. ...
Side.
Heart and shoulder. ... Weird procedure. Unattainable. ... Don't shoot her. In the shoulder. ...
So she they show later.
Thanks.
She and David now are looking for new apartments. Yeah. And there's this weird line, they're looking around. Well, here's this place, the other owners, this, that, and the other. beautiful apartment. And she goes, that's really weird, don't you think, about whatever? And then, like, comments about Tess?
She comments about what...
And I
like,
go, wait, how would this real estate agent
the
know
real
what's
estate
going
agent,
on?
You got really close with your real estate agent.
Yes.
When we bought our house, like, the most she knew is that we were married.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Like, right? She didn't know anything else. So, like, you're like, yeah, well, my old roommate, she put him in a coma.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you
Are
gave
guys
that
looking for a new
information
place?
freely out.
Yes, because I killed my old roommate outside of this after she
I
tried
did.
to murder
I
us.
shot her shoulder and she died. Her heart was in her shoulder.
So Holly goes to Holly, that's what the movie should have been called. Holly goes to the bathroom and sees on the sink, on this immaculately clean apartment, on the sink is a razor blade. And it's not like a shaving razor blade like one would find in the bathroom. It's a utility knife.
It's a utility knife. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's like a box cutter.
Yeah.
Knife. Yeah.
And so she picks it up and looks at it.
Yes.
And now instead of just having like audio of Tess talking about like you understand taking their pain away and whatever. And I think like I don't even get what the point of this.
Don't know.
She wasn't like going to become a murderer, I don't think.
I don't think
or, like,
so.
Kill
It's not
herself.
like we were like. It's not like the psychoness gets passed down.
Yeah.
After you shoot someone.
Yes. Right.
She
goes.
It transfers to you.
Right.
No.
So she goes. So she picks up the blade and she's looking at it, and it's not just a voiceover by Tess.
No, it's a.
She's like Jedi Force Ghost. This like blue Force Ghost of Tess shows up talking like to the camera.
Yeah. You saw it in their eyes.
You saw it. You saw it in my eyes as this went away. And then
she puts down the razor blade and comes.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
And I'm sorry, you should have noticed that there was a razor blade. Unless you were like, open house, free, like, cupcakes and razor blades. Just to get you to come in.
Yeah.
Well, I do need a cupcake and razor blade.
Which one of these is the pile of cupcakes with razor blades? I can't remember.
Oh, put them together and put it for
I made
Halloween.
a king cake, but instead of coins, I put razor blades in it.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it was really
right.
Weird.
So then she like smiles and goes, it looks like David. Well, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then goes, I mean, I would too. And goes, we'll take it. The end. You've been deuced. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Painful movie.
It's painful because, and there was a hard, and excuse us for going, wait a minute, it's that. No, it's that. Because all the set looks the same.
Yeah.
The plot is very interchangeable.
Yes.
Because it's very simple,
Yeah.
But again, you can have something simple, and plot worthy wise, and still have fun with it, and still have an enjoyable, entertaining movie.
I feel like,
even though we've seen something like this over and over again, right?
Yeah. I feel like they started writing Act 3, and they were like, oh shit, she's supposed to be a killer, right? Like, oops. And then realized they should have been writing that all along because it just started happening out of the blue.
I mean, she's just a euthanizer at her job. That's the only thing she's ever done.
They show her doing an Angel of Mercy thing for like one old dude.
And then it goes flat, like he flatlines, and no alarm goes off.
Yeah, no, it's all awkward.
So it's very weird. Yeah, I mean, I've seen enough Scrubs to know that ain't true.
Yeah, right. All right, so
all right, you've been deuced. Let's do our questions.
Yeah. What do you think the best part of this movie is?
You know what? I'm gonna say the dialogue was not great. I'm going to say the lighting was not great. The music is very early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite thing was the boss. I really liked the boss.
Yeah.
He really actually was the better actor of everyone. And you know what? I'm going to say David wasn't that bad of an actor either.
Yeah.
He wasn't the greatest, but I'm going to say the boss was probably the best. Because there was like moments where the boss would be like, please call me when you do get home. Or come back. Or take a few days off. Like, I know those are throwaway lines, but they're actually fun. And there's that scene with him, Holly, and Jan in the elevator where it's like, now, this little pettiness, though I've been enjoying watching it, it needs to stop.
Well, I think
By the way, and he puts him in the elevator and goes, Holly, you've get promoted. And then the doors close,
Yeah.
and now they have to awkwardly go,
Yeah.
through the elevator. So I like him. He's my favorite part.
Yeah, I think like his approach to it, I think is almost how it should have been more like.
They're more
It almost should have been
tongue-in-cheek.
like, yeah, a little bit more dark comedy.
Yes.
I think that would have been more the way to go with this, but like, and he kind of approaches that way. I think his approach to
agree.
the character is fine, whereas everybody else is almost like trying to be too serious, or it's just phoning it in because they realize like it is what it is.
It feels like this is like a lot of people's first really major movie.
Yeah,
Like they've done.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
And so I feel like they're like taking it too serious, and especially the director. So he's just like, just go for it, whatever.
yeah,
Instead of being all like, let's hit the beats of comedy and kind of make it more of a dark comedy to it.
yeah,
And so it misses the mark for me.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, yeah.
But I will agree with you about the boss.
Mm-hmm.
I think the same thing. And I don't mind the
The
detective.
detective's fine
Yeah.
too.
Like both of them are okay.
Tess is not
No.
the greatest actor. And Holly's fine.
Yeah.
But she's just kind of delivering.
Yes.
She's there to move everything along.
Yeah.
And so, but like, again, Final Girl, you could really kind of have fun with it, but you don't do really.
There
I'm
was
not
only,
entertained with that.
there only one murder? I guess two if you count the old dude, but
If you count the old dude, yeah, you're right. The body count is like 2.
yeah, there's really
We were
not-
trying for 3, but he went to a coma.
Yeah, it just was not like
Yeah.
eh.
I mean,
But I think the boss like had the
I
right
mean, body count probably 4 because we pretty much fell asleep too. For this movie.
No, the boss probably was the best part.
Mm.
Do you think this movie stands on its own?
Yes, compared to the first one, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's not a good thing.
It has nothing to do with the
There's
first
nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It would be different because this is
why I'm-
years later. If
Yeah.
someone was connected to Jennifer Jason's Leigh character or the victim,
Yeah.
and it kind of comes full circle, I would have even been okay with that. I would have rolled my eyes, but at least we would have had something to connect. The only thing that we're connecting is that there's a roommate that wants to be the same as
Yeah.
the other roommate and be connected with them. Big fucking deal. I've seen it over and over again.
Yeah.
So I was just like, whatever. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, no, I this really has nothing to do with the other one.
not really.
Um
You could watch this and be like, whatever. And again, these people made a movie. I didn't. So, like kudos that they finished it and got it made.
agreed. But yeah, I mean, no. I really feel like this was again, like I stand by my statement that like it feels like they made a different movie and then had to take like certain aspects of it to try to connect it to maybe not directly, but like at least be like, hey, we're looking
Yeah.
at the newspaper clippings and whatever. Like I feel like a lot of that was being done to force the idea that they were doing the single
Or
white
it wasn't
female thing
necessarily a sequel, but it was like kind of like the plot was basically like that. So they were like,
again. Why not make
well, why not be, single white female
they
too?
probably weren't going to get any kind of budget, and then
Right.
they were like, well, if we maybe the studio's like, well, if you use the same name,
Maybe.
then you can do that.
Who knows?
So, but does this make you want to watch the first one?
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
But it makes me want to watch Poison Ivy too,
Yeah.
with Alyssa Milano and Xander Berkeley.
I mean, that at least has people
That
in
has
it.
some names, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, maybe I want to watch that.
No.
Which I do, but not when you're around.
Weird.
I
but-
do. I don't know why, but I do. There's something about Xander Berkeley
Oh, yeah.
that I just love.
Yeah.
Right? But no, it does not.
Thanks,
like me.
thank you for turning that around into the
Not
gayest
the-
refrain
No,
possible.
right? And The Babysitter 2, like all those really weird movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there was like I said, there was like that moment in the 90s and even the early 2000s where it was
Yeah.
like you had these thrillers, where I'm like, okay, they every once in a while they try to bring them back. You get like 1 or 2 of these, like in the movies theaters, like throughout the year, where someone tries to bring the erotic thriller back.
Yeah.
and it never works. I just want a really good one to work once. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me. Go ahead.
Does it make me want to watch the first one? Not really.
No, you said you were bored with the first one.
Yeah,
I've never seen the first one.
I thought the first one was boring.
I've seen bits and pieces if I remember, but
Yeah.
like, no, oh no, that's Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I watched. I get those two confused. Why? Why do I get them confused?
No clue.
Okay, no, I don't know.
But like, I think that to answer your thing about like why all these things started or why there's this kind of like movement with 90s things. Like I think about stuff like Lorena Bobbitt and Amy Fisher, where it was, young women who were all of a sudden were,
We're getting revenge or
like,
fighting back, yeah.
And so that became like the new horror movie monster was women who were like getting retribution. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of why we started heading that route. But, all right, reboot, continue, or cancel.
Based on this movie, cancel. But there's like this part of me that wants to have like this anthology series of like single white female, like just because I think this is better suited as TV.
Yeah.
Than like rebooting it through movies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I find like there's an audience that could enjoy it through a television show.
Yeah.
Like through Stars or some bullshit
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like there is. Like there is something like that. And, because of Lifetime. It has that Lifetime feel.
That Lifetime feel.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I honestly I think they need to retire the name.
Correct. They do need to retire the name.
Not only because it's like, that kind of limits stuff, but it's also kind of dated from.
But I'm also like you said, let's have some switch ups, like where here's a twist that has to it.
Yeah.
Where it's not who you think it is, it's actually someone else.
Yeah.
Or someone, a jealous boyfriend that's playing tricks on her.
Yes.
Blaming her new roommate.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or a guy. Or this. Or
single
whatever.
white female
or like sexual.
Is a Karen. Just terrorizing like.
Yeah. Something.
Like restaurant workers.
Yeah. It could be just, SFW, single white female. Just like anthologies.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? Doesn't really need. I retire the name, but keep the concept.
I mean, you kind of got Why Women Kill. I guess it's not really the same.
Yeah,
thing,
I don't know. I mean, you and your friend watch that, but I don't watch that.
Yeah.
What is that show though? Is that like that?
Kind of, it's like women who've been kind of, downtrodden, getting retribution.
Okay.
It feels much more like, but that's the thing. Like in this, it's always like. There's a crazy woman who's like out of her mind because she is looking for friendship.
Yeah, and that feels more like in lines with like Lifetime or
versus like the Why Women Kill is not necessarily about women who are like fighting each other. It's about like them getting sick of being in the system that of oppression. So different perspective on time. That's why I kind of like don't think this would still work. You would have to revamp it and almost make it like, like single white female would be more about like her getting revenge on something or like, single female.
It needs to be updated to, with the times.
Yeah. Or even like just single female and then have it be like the horrors that women face, like put them on screen. So, although like you kind of have that with, Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that Promising Young Woman.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, not necessarily spin off this, but like you said, get rid of the name, retire the name. But the idea's there to maybe do something that's more empowering.
Yeah.
Than necessarily victimizing.
Yeah.
Well,
because like in this, she She runs back to the people who
Yes,
mistreated her.
It's
And the one
very,
person who
it's toxic.
think about it, the person who's like, you shouldn't go back to those people and into this toxic thing,
Yeah.
was crazy and was gonna kill you.
Right.
The only place you're safe is with your exes.
Is with all these toxic people.
Yeah.
Go back to that.
Yeah.
No. You
Yeah,
shouldn't,
that's
you
what I'm
shouldn't
like-
be any of that.
I'm like, this was
Like,
written by
you
a
should
bunch of
not end
cringy
with
dudes.
David at the end of the movie.
Yeah. This was just written by a bunch of cringy dudes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess finally, sum up your experience in 2 words.
Want ads?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why?
Oh, okay. Because I wanted more. I wanted to have a little, like, if you're gonna do this, you don't have that that comedy, that dark comedy into it. Have that more sexualized notion. Have a better soundtrack that kind of goes with it. Have better lighting. I know they're working on a budget, but you can still have that and work on a smaller budget. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like, we are in the same 2 rooms, it seems like, throughout the whole movie. I just wanted a lot more. So my 2 words are want ads.
Yeah.
Which is how they found that old lady.
She might have just been in the building. Ma'am, we are shooting a movie. Go back inside.
Oh,
And then
I'm
they
sorry.
stab the KFC guy. This was your job. So I'm gonna say Me Too. Because
you wanted more.
because this was vaguely like, it was weird. Like, so
It had
I
the
just
weird-
keep thinking about, like, man, in a world of like Me Too and like where we've called a lot of this crap out, like,
Yeah.
this just doesn't seem like it would fly.
No, a lot
for
of it's
very good
not.
reason. Like,
Yeah.
this is like, clearly it's got a bad perspective, and it's like, it's trying to be like, see, you're a savvy woman, but you need this guy, and your girlfriends are trying to kill you. Like, it's, think about it, like, every woman that she has an
Yeah.
interaction with is terrible.
Yes.
And the only
every
ones,
guy is
the only
there to
ones who will
use her.
save you are your boss who has power over you,
Yes.
and your ex-boyfriend,
Your
who
ex-boyfriend.
cheated on you, but is a nice guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, ugh, it just.
But
it's,
didn't really mean to cheat on you.
Yeah, I didn't mean for this to happen. Yeah, it was just.
Oh, no, it's very toxic.
Yeah, it's super toxic, and I don't think in terms of everything it would work. But I also want to say Me Too, in agreement with your statement about what, like, to agree with your 2 words as well.
Oh, yeah, that you wanted more. That, like, and what the product that this director and these people gave us,
Yeah.
normally I say, oh, I could see potential. I could see where they were going, but I wanted something. Like, they were just at the edge, and then they failed me, right?
Yeah.
I did not even see that.
No.
In this. There was not any moment that I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
But again, they directed a movie, they finished a movie,
Yeah.
they did it. And so I cannot blame them for that. But I can go, guess what, didn't enjoy it.
Well, and I'm sorry. Single White Female came out in 1992, and Single White Female 2 came out in 2005.
That's
and
what
you're
I'm saying.
telling me between the, like, 13 years difference
Mm-hmm.
that attitudes with, like, like women empowerment and everything like
Right.
that hadn't at least jumped forward a little bit. Like, come on, it did. There were
You had to.
changes and stuff.
It definitely did.
But like,
But
what,
we
it would have
were
been
still kind of learning a lot.
Yeah,
We still are now.
Yeah, we still are. But I'm saying, like, it would have been. You're telling me that in that time you couldn't have said, what would we have changed about the other one to, like, knowing what we know
Correct.
now or whatever,
Yeah.
and advancing that forward 13 years?
Correct.
Like, if they made this now, like, something that was
Oh,
just like
you'd be
this, that you're like, are you
laughed at.
kidding me? Because it would be. You would have learned nothing, and it would have been so tone deaf by this point that it's like, come on.
Yes. In fact, this movie feels tone deaf.
It does. Yeah. And so I'm like, I feel like they could have done more with it and should have done more. But again, it was just a bunch of cringy dudes who were trying to, like, make something sexy and scary and to scare their girlfriends back to living with them and whatever. So
It really is. Yes. It's like, no. be okay that I cheated on you that one time with your best
See, honey?
friend.
This is
Because
what
guess
happens if
what? You could
on
move
me.
out and have a psycho roommate.
Oh my god. Okay, so one of the guys who wrote this is the only thing he wrote, but he did get a special thanks on 8mm too. Another guy, he's got a bunch more writing credits, but again, like Wild Things 2 and a bunch of shit like that.
Yeah, a lot of like
Wild
these thriller
Things,
things.
Diamond in the Rough.
But you had that, and like at the time, yeah, it is kind of like had that empowering of women, but then it's like ass backwards now, to where it's like just because of that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're doing a service to women's rights or the advancement of the fairness of the way women are treated. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not doing that, and through this. I feel like that's where you get like this whole, well, guess what? 50 Shades of Grey. But let me tell you what. I told you I actually enjoy this better than 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, that's true.
And I
I'd
did.
rather watch this than that.
I would rather watch this, and I don't want to watch this again. But again, if you do enjoy these things, please, might be something in there for you. But for us, there just wasn't.
No.
Well, our Cruel Summer series will continue with another sequel that you didn't know existed. So look forward to that next week. But Jeremy, where can people find us?
People can find us at thedeucepodcast.podbean.com, Google Play, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, a lot of those kind of podcatchers. You can get us on Facebook and Twitter at Deuce Podcast. And then, of course, you can also find us at nophonynetwork.com, which is our podcast network where they host everything. And you have all sorts of shows on there, audio dramas, reading, sports. The sports one, like, we have international perspective on sports as well, which is great, especially right now, considering with the Olympics going on. It's a great time to get in there and check and see what all the other perspectives are and, see what it's all about.
All right. Do yourself a favor, wear a mask, get vaccinated, and remember, the sequel is king.